everyone. I figured I'll move you guys over a little bit. There we go. Welcome to my channel. I figured this book I've had I figured I would give you a look on my budgeting journey. I've been budgeting for about 10 years, and I bought this book 10 years ago when I started budgeting. My husband and we had decided 10 years ago that we were going to move from where we were living in New Jersey to Florida, because my husband will be retiring in a few years, and we wanted to be established in a different state. So I started writing everything down in this book to keep track of how much money we were actually spending. And when I actually visually started writing the numbers down, I could not believe how much money we were spending on a monthly basis. So I'm going to give you a peek of how our budgeting journey has gone from 10 years ago to now. So I hope you guys are ready for this, because I was completely shocked when I started doing these numbers 10 years ago of how much money we were spending in a month. And it was horrible. It was very bad. But I started this book in August of 2009. And these were all our bills that we had for 2009. I literally was having 2 pages of bills, and I mean, we had a different car. We were paying $600 a month for a different car payment. We had, I don't know how many credit cards. We had a lot of credit cards, and we had a house up in New Jersey, and we had, sewer taxes and everything we were paying. We had cell phones, we had gas, we had electric, we had water, all the stuff that you need for a home. And then we had a lot of credit cards. So I said, we got to start doing something. I said, if we want to move, and you want to retire at a certain age, I said, we got to start doing something now. And this was 10 years ago, August 2009 is when we started this journey together. This is how much we were spending a month. This $9,116.13 out of all the bills. My son was in college, and we were paying for all his books for college, and then the tuition went up, and we paid $1,000 to that for his tuition. A lot of credit cards. We had a lot of credit cards. And as soon as we started paying everything off, we started doing this, paying cards off, trying to close out cards, as many as we can. So this is what we were up against. And we moved in 2010, so we had 1 year to try to pay off a lot of stuff. And we went from $9,116.13 when we started this, and then I just started closing cards out and just paying off the balances. Then we got it down to like $5,467. We paid $8,000, but then that was some money that was left over, and we transferred money into like savings and stuff like that. So that was that's what we had there. But you could see just about every credit card you can think of. We had oil for heat up north. We had to pay for that every winter. So you could see every credit card you can think of we had, So, and then we started seeing balances every month going down. $6,000, $5,000, you know, from like almost $10,000 we were spending a month, which was crazy. It was a lot of money we were spending. And we were just watching our balances go down with paying off credit cards, getting rid of high interest rate credit cards. Of course, you know, we still had to keep paying for mortgage and all that and everything. And we just started paying everything off. And we went from the first month in August of 2009 to over $9,000 that we spent in that month. And then each month, you could see, each month we were closing out credit cards and paying credit cards off, and we were seeing the balances. We weren't seeing $100 or $200 a month going down. We were seeing like $1,000 or $2,000 going down every month because we were just paying off these balances. We wanted very little debt when we decided to move the following year. And like I said, you know, we started seeing some of these balances. We went from, this month we went from 5,000 something to 3,000. And the reason why we were paying these debts off in big chunks is my husband was making more money up north. His paychecks were way bigger than what his paychecks are now. So we were paying off, you know, big chunks at a time because he was bringing home paychecks that were like $2,000 every 2 weeks. So he was bringing home like $4,000 a month up north. So we paid our bills that we needed to pay, and then we were just making like big chunks and stuff. And then he had a side hustle job where he was making, every weekend he was making about $600 every weekend, and he was doing that. I was working, and I was working a you know, online. I was doing eBay, which I still do today. I've been doing that for about 20 years. And I started stuff that I was selling. I was just, you know, I was getting rid of stuff because we knew we were moving. And I said, you know what? I said, we ain't taking all of this stuff with us. There's just not going to be any room. And the stuff we knew we weren't going to take, I just started selling it online. And I was making money that way. I was bringing in $200 to $300 a month. And with everything that we were doing, all the money that was coming in, the my husband's pay, what I was making online, his side hustle and all that, we were bringing in about $7,000 a month. So this is how we got to pay off a lot of these debts. And you saw, you know, big chunks of it going down. I mean, yeah, there was a couple of months where we got off track because something, you know, unexpectedly came up, and we just, you know, we needed the money for something, so we just paid like minimum balance with a lot of stuff, and then used, you know, we used the credit cards or debit cards or whatever we needed to pay off whatever we need to help out and stuff like that. But I mean, we did fall off the wagon a couple of times, as you can see in January, in the first, you know, January of 2010. You know, we went off the wagon a little bit, and you know, it went back up to $8,000. You know, then we got back on track again and brought it back down to $5,000, paying off credit cards and stuff again. I was very sick up north, and I had to constantly go into doctors and specialists and, you know, all that stuff. And of course you could see they were costing money. His insurance only paid a certain percentage, and we got stuck paying the rest of the bills. So of course that made our totals go up of what we were doing and everything. But you can see that we were paying off, you know, and by the time we moved down here in July. Let's go to July. In July of 2010, we had a total of $9,402. For the only reason was when we moved down here, everything up north, we had those last bills coming in from the last month that we were there, or the last couple of weeks that we were there. So of course, one bill, which we knew was only going to be about maybe $75, ended up being over $100 because it was like more than a 30-day period. So that's what we had to do for that. And then, we still had the car. I was paying off, $3,000 and stuff to the car. So we were still pretty high when we moved down here because we were still paying off bills from up north along with our new bills that we had down here. So we were still, like I said, the electric, the gas, all that. We still had to pay those bills off up there. And then, we had to pay these down here. So that's why these totals got a little high here. Then I found out that I was a diabetic. And of course, it cost me the diabetic supplies, my husband's insurance at that time. Well, actually, he had no insurance at that time because they only gave him insurance until the end of July. So all our prescriptions and everything we had to pay out of pocket because we didn't have the prescription insurance or anything. We didn't have the insurance to have a prescription plan or anything. So, and then I found out that I was a diabetic up north before we moved down here, a few months before we moved down here, and all the diabetic supplies were costing me, this is just for a month, it was costing me anywhere between $75 to $100 a month just in diabetic supplies. So of course that didn't help the situation where it made this balance go up quite a bit. Then of course, we had all kinds of stuff that was done. So there was times that we got off the wagon and everything. So there was times for that. And then, we started cutting back and we were renting instead of buying again because we wanted to rent for a while. And we were paying, the rent was $1,000 a month, way better than what we were paying for our mortgage up north. Our mortgage up north was over $1,800 a month. So we were saving $800 a month by renting for a couple of years before we decided to buy something again. And you could see prescriptions and all that, all this. My husband still didn't have medical insurance. So we didn't go to the doctors or anything for 7 months because we didn't have the medical insurance. I was getting my prescriptions at Walmart for a 3-month supply because it was costing me like $10 for a 3-month supply, except for the diabetes supplies. They were costing me $75 to $100 every month. So, but yeah, these are, you can see the totals were going down. You saw a lot of the bills were getting paid off, and that was being done. We got into trouble, and we had to file for bankruptcy, and we had to file for bankruptcy twice. Once was in up north, which was in the early 90s. My husband had lost his job, and he had gotten hurt, and then while he was in the hospital up north, the people he worked for let him go. They said they couldn't hold his position anymore. And then when we moved down here, we got into trouble again because we brought all these bills with us from up north, and we had to file for bankruptcy again about 8 years ago. So that was like when we first moved down here, because my husband couldn't find a job for 7 months when we first moved down here, and he was supposed to get a transfer from his other job, and they said, oh, well, there's a freeze on hiring and transfers for at least a year, 6 months to a year, and you can't do it. And he's like, he just said, you know what, we're just going to do what we need to do. He says, and I'll He said, I'll look for something when we get down there. And it took 7 months for him to look for a job. So everything we had saved up, our emergency fund and all that, for that time, we had over $10,000 saved up. If he didn't find something, we would have been out on the street after 7 months. But thankfully, he found something, and it wasn't too far away where he can work. But that's it, guys. I mean, this is, you can see this was $1,400 because there was a lot of the bills, you know, that went in through the bankruptcy and you know, paid off and stuff like that. But we just started paying off everything now. So now we're back on track again. Let's move forward because I don't want to go through all these pages. And you can see, you know, this was like 2013. We had everything. Every once in a while we would buy like pizza because, you know, so you get tired of cooking and you just want to you know, just get some pizzas and make it a pizza night and stuff like that. But yeah, that's all of our bills. This is recent of all our bills. You can see how the pages are. You can see how the pages are from yeah, of being filled up from 2 pages to only like a page and a half. And now we're back on track, and we are staying on track because my husband will be retiring in about 2 years, and that's it. We're going to get this stuff paid off. We only have 1 credit card. We have a little over $2,000 balance on it that we're getting paid off. We have my car, that's going to get paid off. We have the care credit, which that is going to get paid off hopefully by January or February of next year. And we have half of the mortgage on the house that we went in with my son and daughter-in-law. But that was our budgeting journey. I mean, we did, you know, at one point we didn't care what we spent, how we spent it, how much we spent. And that was when we lived up north, and now everything's changed. And we are doing a lot better with our money because now we have to watch what we spend because he's making, you know, less money from up north. And we're just put ourselves on a budget. We give ourselves an allowance every 2 weeks, a certain amount every 2 weeks. We make sure all the bills are paid, which I did up north too. I made sure every bill was paid before we even thought about doing any other kind of money. But I mean, living in New Jersey, we were taking the kids down the shore to arcades, and, you know, going to the amusement parks with the kids. And my husband loved to go to Atlantic City Casino, so we were going there, and we were spending a few days down there. And I mean, yeah, all this money was adding up. And then when we literally sat down and wrote these numbers down, we could not believe that we were spending that kind of money in a month. And I said, we need to change. I said, we have to change. I said, we're gonna get into trouble. And we did get into trouble twice. But all that's in the past, and I am looking forward to a debt-free journey, and I think we're on the right path of doing it, guys. So I hope you didn't mind I rambled too much, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you like it. Comment below if you had any problems like I did, medical or anything. Just comment anything down below. I would love to hear your comments about this. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.